gentlemen, welcome to the Cheatcast. I am your host, Marcus Julian Combo, here at TFWM Studios in Philadelphia, where I am you, you are me, and together we kick off the high holy month of Spooky today. That's right, today, October 1st, is the kickoff to the high holy month of Spooky. I feel like I've been talking about this all year long. I absolutely cannot wait. We are coming up, we're about 80% spook at this point in the studio, which is good. We'll be adding stuff all month, including our fitness Halloween apparel, where you can find at your local Amazon online shop, as it were. And we've even got full spooky in the mug. My Tai Chi tea, something like that. Anyway, we've got good stuff for you. It is October, the beginning of a whole new set of things. So first and foremost, one of the things I've got to you today is a special little treat from down south, one of our own, coming in to the Cheatcast today, one Kevin Borgstedt, who's going to be awesome. We'll meet him in a few minutes. And we've also got the big town hall this month. I talked with DDR yesterday, and a couple of things to have on the mind right now. Number one, Veterans Day is only about a month and a half away. So if you haven't begun preparing your Veteran Day events and all that kind of thing, you should start thinking about those things, because it's right around the corner. More importantly, we're going to be doing the whole High Holy Month of Spooky all month. So, there may be a costume class coming up at the end of the month. So I would stay tuned to calendars all across the TaijiFit international world. And that. Also, the town hall this month, a couple of weeks, I believe it's on October 15th, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific out there on the left coast. We're going to have, actually, our guest today, as well as Clayton Crosley with us, talking about the ins and outs of the Taiji for Veterans program and what to expect on the back end, as they are some of the most successful and pioneering instructors that we have inside the program. So we're looking forward to it. Kevin's over here laughing at me in the green room. I'm making him sound much more epic than I believe he even thinks he is at this point. All right, so listen, without further ado, because you don't show up here to listen to me talk, I want to introduce you to the man of the hour. And I wrote a fancy little paragraph for him, so we're gonna read said paragraph. Excuse me. With more than 20 years wandering hills, valleys, and plains of Tai Chi, my guest today is leader in the merging of the traditional practice with modern pragmatism and enduring application, focusing on bringing the benefits of Tai Chi and Qigong practice to the mental health, pain management, rehabilitation, and recovery worlds. He is one of TaijiFit's own regional leaders and a pioneer in TaijiFit's veteran program. But most importantly, while a Tai Chi master by day, he moonlights as a bluegrass bass player on the stages of Columbia, South Carolina. Please welcome to the Cheatcast, Mr. Kevin Borgstedt. Kevin, how are you this morning?
Well, I'm fine, but I'm just trying to figure out who the heck it is that you're talking about.
We try to do things fancy here.
Most of the people who know me think of a relatively low-key kind of guy. And the fellow that you're describing doesn't sound low-key at all. But I do have a question.
Okay, I'm listening.
When did I start playing bass?
Bass. Oh, that was a mistake.
That's a fish, man.
The voiceover.
We don't do that. You ever try to pluck a bass? It's really not a good time. It's really not.
All right. I lower my head in silent humility to my.
There you go.
My
there you go.
Of your
but that's my segue, because you had sent me a script that you wanted me to go through, where I was supposed to speak about got my script right here?
Oh, look at you.
The second most inspirational Tai Chi leader in the world. DDR apparently being the first.
Oh.
And you had listed off 15 or 20 things that you wanted me to say, all basking in the glory of your bass playing or whatever it is that you do. And something about a $25 check.
$25, huh? You settled low. But it's in the mail.
I work cheap. What can I tell you? Anyway, so what do we want to talk about there, big guy?
So I actually, kicking off the high holy month of spooky, one of the things I wanted to talk about was a little bit about music, actually. Like, what makes a certain genre of music that genre of music, right? Why is something spooky? Why is something joyous? Why does something make me feel happy inside or sad inside or match my mood when I'm washing the dishes? Expound upon that for us.
Well, if you want to go down the music theory path, which scares most people much more than skeletons in the closet, typically when people start thinking about spooky music and emotional music, stuff that makes you feel sad and stuff, it's because it's played in a minor key.
Really?
Now, what does that mean? I don't want to get too deep into all of this stuff, but most Western music is based on what's called a major scale. And if you think of Sound of Music, do, re, mi, right up the line. Sing the little song with Julie Andrews. That's a major scale. If you take that third tone in the scale and drop it a half step, now, what does that mean? Well, it just means it sounds different. And that difference is what gives it that sad sound. I can give you an example. I'm not sure if you'll hear this particularly well, but we'll try it and see how it works out. Try to do this without strangling myself. For those who are not musically inclined, this is not a bass. This is a mandolin. It's much smaller than most basses.
So we'll just get it. I'm never going to live that down right now. Right?
But can you hear this okay?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
Play away.
That is a very nice little A chord. Hear a difference? That's that half step drop. So if you're singing something with A, sounds kind of happy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now listen to the difference. It sounds different.
It does.
And that difference of that one little half step, when it goes like that, for some reason that we're accustomed to, almost to the point of it being, DNA kind of stuff, it makes it sad. So that's what makes the difference. If you listen to a song like, what can I think of? Oh, lots of blues songs. I'm drawing a blank on the song that Wayfaring Stranger.
Okay.
You're familiar with the song, right?
I am familiar with the song.
Okay. Well, that sound, let me switch to a different key. I am a poor wayfaring stranger traveling through. You hear that minor sound in it?
Yeah.
Now, if you did the same thing, I am a poor, it just doesn't work.
That's true.
Right out of the gate. So anyway, when you're talking about emotional stuff, one of the first things that happens is with that minor sound, it kind of tugs the heartstrings. Another thing that makes a big difference is tempo. If we take those same major minor chords, if I take the major chord and I play it quick, I get a very different feel than if I went. Right?
Gondolas and picnics, that's what that's inspiring.
So it's a combination of that minor sound, of tempo. In the case of vocals, the words kind of make a difference for some people. You know, if you're singing in bluegrass music, which is near and dear to my heart,
Sure.
and if you're singing about somebody that, you know, stabs his girlfriend in the chest and throws her in the river because she likes some other guy better than she likes him, you're going to get a different feel than... What's that?
Thought you were taking this to a spooky place there for a second.
Well, it can be kind of spooky because she comes back 10 years later and haunts him from her grave. And so anyway, a lot of these things kind of get into it. The choice of instrument makes a difference. You know, mandolins have kind of a sweet sound to them most of the time.
Right.
Upright basses have a little different take on it. If you play a banjo, I mean, who sings a sad song with a banjo? I mean, it just doesn't work. Violin, aka fiddle, is one of those instruments that can go either way. You can sing some of those sad violin, Hungarian gypsy music things that just make the tears roll down. But you can sit back and play a nice fat little fiddle tune, and you can have people dancing in a heartbeat.
Huh.
So there's a lot going on there.
So when you're on stage, because I'm assuming that you're going to be playing with your audience emotions throughout the night. If you're on a live stage, maybe you're there to get them riled up, maybe you're there to be background noise, maybe you're the curtain caller of the night. How do you prepare for yourself, and how do you prepare for the audience before going on stage?
Well, here's the key. Sometimes you don't. and the same is going to be true for Tai Chi instructors.
Sure.
There's a difference though. When I'm playing on stage, it's live. So we can adjust very quickly. We'll go in typically, and we've got an idea what we're going to play, and usually we know how we're going to play it. But if the audience reaction is something different, you know, they really want to dance.
Sure.
Okay, you're going to play quicker tunes. You're not going to do the old slow ballads as much. On the other hand, you know, if they're really responding well to murder songs, whacking her on the head and throwing her in the river kind of stuff, you know, you're going to come back to one or two of those later. You can adjust. You watch the audience. You feel the audience. You try to choose things on the fly that work for them. And in my case, a lot of what I do, not usually the lead guy, but what I do is I chip in from the side with jokes and comments and witty repartee, you know, that kind of thing. And play off whoever's on the front, usually the lead singer or the lead musician. And we can use that to help prime the audience for things places that we want to take them.
Sure.
And in some cases react to the audience to help give the guys in the band a cue, hey, we need to change and go a different direction. Or in some cases, like with banjo players, typically need about 5 hours to tune between songs. You know, give them time to do what they need to do. It's different for Tai Chi instructors because the music is, in my experience anyway, almost never live. You know, my music, when I play it in the class, is all pre-recorded right here.
Sure.
And I plug it in. And I pick a soundtrack, a playlist that I think suits the mood that I would like to take people through.
Okay.
And that, I've got a couple dozen different playlists. Some of them use a lot of fairly traditional Asian music. Because some people think, hey, Tai Chi, I should be listening to a koto, a lute, a pipa playing, something like that. Other people have funny reactions to that. Right. And they like something that sounds more new agey, like somebody's dinging crystals in the background or something like that.
Ah, yes, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And they react to that. And if I know I'm going to have people who like that, then that's what I'll try to use. Now, personally, I like a lot of things with flute in them. Okay. So I've got several playlists that actually have ocean music, waves, slow waves, okay, and nice drifting flute music. So that from time to time, when I have people go into a hold position, just stop and listen. Let the flute carry you. And I shut the heck up.
Yeah.
And then they just drift.
So riding the waves of the ocean and the waves of the sounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, especially if you're getting closer to the end of a session, where you've already done all your heavy lifting, whatever that might be.
Sure.
Okay. So you want people to feel relaxed. Just breathe in and out. Mm-hmm. And the waves crash. Ah, man, that's good stuff.
It is.
You're not going to get that with a banjo player going plinkety plinkety plink. It's just doesn't work that way. Now, as soon as I say that, though, I have had several people show up in some of my sessions where just for chuckles, I'll play something. There's some people who use bluegrass instrumentation to play classic rock tunes.
Okay.
And one day, just because I felt weird, I guess, I put some of that on to start off the set. Okay. And a couple of the people went nuts because they knew exactly who the group was. They listened to the music. They loved the music. It didn't work particularly well for Tai Chi pacing, right, but it worked really well to get those people, and they're with me. Wherever I want to go, they're ready now.
That is fantastic.
Totally different use of the music.
You could do it you could do Tai Chi, what you're saying, is really to any genre, anything that speaks to you, you can make that speak to your class.
Yeah.
Just yesterday I was thinking about that. I was sort of having a nostalgic moment and thinking about all of the acoustic playlists that we used to get back in the 90s during the grunge age and all that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I wondered if something like Nirvana or even something extreme like Smashing Pumpkins or something, acoustically could then be used in a Tai Chi class because you're taking away the hardness of the electric.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there, PhD?
Well,
that's right. I'm completely giving it over to you.
Yeah, I don't know about this PhD thing at all. But I think it could work. I mean, it depends on the tune. It depends on the people. It depends on what you're going to do in that session. And as an instructor, you have to kind of be thinking about these things, which is painful for me. I somewhat limited capacity, so, thinking real hard makes me sweat. You can see what it's done to my hair here. But one of the things that I find that I've tried it a couple times, not recently. You like Pink Floyd?
Absolutely.
Dark Side of the Moon?
Brain Damage, you name it.
Let me tell you what. That makes for a real interesting Tai Chi set.
Oh, I bet.
Really works really well.
I bet. Would you play it with the lyrics or just the instrumental?
Well, this is actually a good question. I generally avoid lyrics wherever possible.
Okay.
And my reasoning is because if you get the lyrics, number one, they compete with whatever direction I might be giving.
Okay.
Secondly, people start listening to the lyrics, and the lyrics take them somewhere that may be totally unlike where I want to go.
That's very true.
Okay, so I tend to avoid lyrics. But in the case of something like, Dark Side of the Moon as a set in and of itself, I've not found a completely instrumental version of that.
Ah, gotcha.
So sometimes you're kind of limited. And as a result, if I were going to pick things from that particular group of songs, I might not use them all. I'd kind of listen to it and screen certain things out and keep some others.
So why do you think vocals in certain cases actually work in your favor, but in other cases are really distracting?
Couple things. Boy, you're taking me some interesting places.
Hey, listen, man, that's what we do on the Cheat Kit.
This is good. You're good at this. It could be the quality of the voice.
Okay.
There are some voices that just, to me, my ear and things, just seem to fit better.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that they're mellow and calming voices, but there's just something about, if it's a nice, woody, timbered voice, it might work very well. If the pitch is a little bit lower, it might work better than somebody's got a real high voice. Okay. If you get somebody that's got a very nasal sounding voice, it's just going to irritate the crap out of me. Okay. I will never use Creedence Clearwater Revival. No, his voice on my best day just drives me nuts. A lot of people like him. I just don't like it. Great songs. The music's fine. I can't stand his voice.
Sweet Home Alabama. Oh my goodness.
Some other things, sometimes the actual content that people are using just takes you some weird places. But on the other hand, if you listen to, Secret Garden?
Yeah.
It's almost Irishy sounding. Maybe they're British. I don't know. I'm not sure where they're from. But you almost can't even tell what the words are most of the time. I can't. But if you're looking for something to really relax you, it's hard to beat.
That's a good place to go, huh?
Do not play it while you're driving. Not a good combination.
Be a very short drive, huh?
Right into a tree. It's like, if you like hug a tree, well, guess what? You're going to be wrapped around one for quite a while.
I don't believe you're supposed to do that at 70 miles an hour.
No, not recommended. I certainly would not enjoy the experience. No.
So speaking of being in uncomfortable situations and holding on for dear life, you are one of our pioneering instructors in the Tai Chi for Veterans program here at TaijiFit. And I do want to hear about your experience. I know a lot of people have wanted to hear about your experience from the source, because right now you're kind of Tolkien-ish legend. You're the guy who's going up against Castle Doom. And
yeah, well, remember that part about all the guys wandering around with the swords that turn you into ash when they touch you and that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Well, I got arrow holes in my back like nobody's business. What would you like to hear about?
I'm loving the stream of consciousness you're going down right now.
If anything, never mind. I am conscious.
So number one, what I think we all want to know is, what does it feel like to be through? I mean, you're never really done because you're always processing and teaching and whatnot. But to be on the other side, to have to know that this is not your first rodeo anymore, and you can be sort of an expert, subject matter expert in this particular topic.
Wow. Woo. Getting a little flushed here. Just
Listen,
thinking
you're
about
wearing your fancy, so everyone's just...
Yeah. You know, I was going to comment on this. I don't wear this often at all. I wore it just for you as part of your high holy days here.
There it is.
You know, because this is very special to me. I treat Tai Chi differently from a lot of people. I think we might have talked about this before. That, you know, there's a lot of instructors who make a real big deal out of their Tai Chi lineage.
Sure.
Important who you learn from. Yeah. Because if you learn from the wrong guy, well, your Tai Chi is just no good.
Tai Chi's no good.
You wasted 20 years. I don't buy into that.
Correct.
A lot of people believe you have to wear the uniform to be able to do Tai Chi properly. I don't believe that either. And, you know, it's just a whole lot. You have to be able to fight and prove that your Tai Chi is stronger than anyone else. I don't believe that either.
Right.
But in any case, I wanted to wear this for those people who are out there who care about such things to know, hey, I got it. Okay, fine. And I'll put it back in the closet, and that's the last time it'll come out this year.
That's right. We'll see it again next World Tai Chi Day.
Yeah. So coming out of the certification process, I think that I'm a little bit different from a lot of people that I have run into going through it, in that I've been doing Tai Chi for years. I've been in classes with a number of different instructors, different kinds of settings and things. And in my work experience, I did a lot of instruction, and sometimes in extremely hostile situations. So getting up in front of a bunch of people and leading them through from point A to wherever I think point B ought to be is not uncomfortable for me.
Gotcha.
For a lot of people, it's very uncomfortable. Not knowing how it's going to go. Not knowing what I'm going to do.
Yep.
You know, I've been dealing with that for years and years and years. But for a lot of people, you know, it's very unsettling. And when you walk into your first class, it's scary for a lot of people.
Sure.
And my advice to that is it ain't no big thing. Because the people in front of you, for the most part, don't know anywhere near what you know about what you're doing.
Very true.
They don't know where you are. They don't know where you're going. They don't know how you're going to get there. So lead them.
Sure.
And as long as you're using buzzwords, your 5-part cueing, you know, pay attention, kiddies. This is important. As long as you can give them the direction early enough that they're not playing catch up, you're golden. You want to do it an extra time? Do it an extra time. You want to do it one last time? Fine, no big deal. And then the fun starts. You want to do that billing thing.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you, Junior. Hey, you ain't got no idea what's coming.
We're supposed to be promoting the program, not scaring everyone
away.
Well,
you know, it's the 5-part cueing.
That's right.
Lead people before they need to be there. You know, this is the trick with all of that. And we're going to be responding to some of this in the next week or two.
Sure.
To let people know what's coming down the road. Because getting to the point where you can get up in front of a class and lead people through whatever you're going to lead them through is like the first part of it.
Sure.
Getting through the mental hurdles of being able to use HSRM to see what referrals you have and see how the appointments are set up and show that appointments have been completed, scheduling a new appointment. Wow, what do you do if somebody didn't show up? You know, what do you do?
Sure.
Well, it's all administrative stuff. It's not really hard, but it's intricate, and you have to understand how it works. And on the billing side, you have to understand how to get into My VACCN and use that express claim stuff, fill in the forms, and they're very specific. Most of the pieces, as you fill them in, if you screw it up, it'll tell you. Oh, you didn't tell me that you were doing this in telehealth. Oh, okay. Click the button, then you go on your way. But there's a few things that it doesn't catch right away. And those will get you. So when we go through this in a week or two, whenever it is, the 15th maybe, something like that, I'll highlight a bunch of that stuff. There is a learning curve.
Sure.
There's no getting around it. And for me, going through it, for the most part, as far as I know, if not the first person, certainly one of the first people.
Correct.
Going through that, it had brutal moments. You know this.
Yes, I was with you for many of them.
and you know, it was not a good time.
Sure.
One of the things that saved me, and I think this is good that I was the first person as opposed to almost anybody else, because of my work experience, I knew a lot about how computer systems work.
Right.
I know a lot about how healthcare claim systems work and are supposed to work. You know, and there's just a whole lot of my work experience that just said, you know, this is what's supposed to be happening here. It's not happening. Why not?
Right.
And so I knew what kind of question to ask. I didn't know where to ask it. I didn't know where to get the answer.
Right.
But eventually we wandered around and got them.
Sure.
So the path has been blazed. There's little marks on the trees. You still have to watch out for the mud holes.
Sure.
Okay?
It's not
You
paved
still have to watch out for the low-hanging branches that'll, you know, clip you right across the top of the head. But as people will see, you know, it's doable.
Sure.
You do have to understand, though, it's an administrative process.
Sure.
You have to be careful. It takes some time. So if you're used to doing a nice group class, people come in, they say hi, we do a routine, little chit chat afterwards, they go away. Well, you're going to have more to do afterwards.
Right.
Because George was there, so I got to go look at his record, say, yep, he was here, or he wasn't, as the case may be. I got to set up a new appointment for George.
Sure.
I got to process a claim for George, and I do the same thing for Mary, and same thing for Waldo, and same thing for Veronica. So,
Cool.
it's going to take you some time.
I think that is great to put out to the community, if for only the reason that this is Tai Chi stepping into a more professional realm now.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're not just hanging out, chit-chatting before and after class, doing the thing,
Yep.
putting on a show and leaving. Now there's paperwork and real patience involved in record keeping that we have to be a part of. And really, it just enriches the experience as an instructor, because now we get to add this whole sort of corporate industry professional line to our CVs, our curriculum vitae.
Yeah. And one of the other things, not to ignore this at all,
Sure.
but the group of people, at least the ones that I've dealt with, and as much as he shared with me the ones that Clayton has dealt with, it's not the typical group that I suspect most of our folks see in their classes.
Right.
Okay? I mean, I got some people in my classes who are in possession of some fairly serious health issues.
Sure.
Okay? And we're not talking about just, oh, gee, my elbow hurts or my shoulder hurts. I'm talking about serious health issues.
Sure.
And adapting what we do as Tai Chi instructors to what they are initially capable of doing without a real extreme amount of pain is work.
Sure.
You know, and I don't think anybody needs to forget that. You need to remember that, because it's not just getting, I'm going to be kind of going out on a limb with a stereotype here. I'm not doing a Tai Chi class for a bunch of retired people looking for something to do.
Right.
Okay, who come in and say, well, you know, I usually play golf on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'd like to try Tai Chi. Maybe it'll help my golf game.
Sure.
It's not that. I mean, we're talking about people, some of them, who have trouble walking.
Right.
I've got one guy in one of my sessions that, you know, you'll see him, he has trouble sitting up straight. That's a big deal for him.
Yeah.
And because of some lung-related issues that he's got, sitting up straight and taking a deep breath, that's an achievement. If he can do that without coughing, he's had a really good experience.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
And if you're an instructor coming through our program, and the first time you get somebody like that, and you can get them to the point where they can go 5 times, that's a landmark.
Yeah.
Never mind, you know, golden rooster up on one leg,
Sure.
because that's not happening today.
Right.
Okay. By the way,
What would you say, because this is something that I do see in newer instructors, regardless of how they're coming into the world, how have you learned to discipline yourself over the years from trying to overshare with your students or with your patients, right? Just giving them what they need in the moment as opposed to giving them everything.
you noticed that as a learning opportunity for me, didn't you?
Not at all. I assumed you mastered this one.
No. Borrowing words totally out of context from Joe Biden, you have to learn to just shut up. Years ago, in one of my work experiences, one of the first times I worked from home was a management job with a very heavy sales aspect to it.
Yeah.
And sitting in my office, I had signs all around in front of me where I sat that just said, shut up, to get the other person to talk. So using that as my guide in some of these things, I'll occasionally explain some things in a class. You know, here's why we do this. Here's why we turn the foot so you don't wreck your knee.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But for the most part, I don't. But if somebody asks me a question, he says, Kevin, you usually sink a little bit lower than we do. Why do you do that? Oh, well, here's why.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why do you always turn your foot like that? I said, well, does your knee hurt? Well, sometimes. That's why.
There you go.
You know, so I'll let their questions guide me.
So have you had any questions that have come from your vets? Because you have a very special view on the program, being that you are on the other side. So now you are working with vets, as you said, vets that are, in certain cases, in ambulatory. Have they had questions for you? How have you been challenged? What about that has changed the program for you?
I don't recall specific questions from vets, to be honest with you.
Okay.
A few of them do ask questions, but they're usually very detailed. You know, does it matter if I hold my hand this way or that way when I'm waving hands like clouds?
Right.
So, well, you know, right now, no, don't worry about it. Just turn your waist. That's what I want you to do. As you're coming around, turn your waist. Don't worry about moving your arm and just standing here like this, you know, being a traffic director or a symphony conductor or something like that. Turn your waist. But what's interesting is how every now and again I get somebody who really almost instantly gets what's going on. Oh, you're doing that so I can stretch those back muscles a little bit.
Yeah.
Bingo. That's why I want you to do that. Step side to side and shift your weight. Push a little bit from one side to the other. Ah, you want me to stretch my hips a little bit? Hell yeah. I sure do. You know, so every now and again you get some people who really get it.
Sure.
And almost like they've been doing this before, but almost none of them have ever had any Tai Chi martial art experience at all.
Sure, sure. Well, let me ask you this question. Here's an interesting point of view that we normally don't talk about, and that I think is true almost 100% with the veteran community, which is, you know, somebody shows up at your footstep in your class ready to learn Tai Chi, and you're going to give them balance and strength and flexibility and all these wonderful things. But these are all things they probably had in the past, and probably had, at least at the time, seemingly ad infinitum. Speaking as a veteran, I know that you train as if you were a professional athlete. So knowing that this, at some point, this person was the peak performance for humans in general, but also for them as an individual. And now they're in your class looking to, in a way, regain some of that, not just gain something they never had, but in a sense, mourning what they've lost and looking to you to regain it. How do you approach that?
Very consciously. Now, once again, you're asking a really good question. I don't dwell at all on whatever they may or may not have been before.
Gotcha.
Whenever before was. Whatever before was.
Mm-hmm.
I spend almost all of my time talking with them about where they are now.
Mm-hmm.
And where are we going? You know, sometimes I'll ask, where do you want to be? What do you want to be able to do? But most of the time, not even that. And just say, here's where you are now. How do you feel? Is your back hurting? Lower back? Muscles feel tight? Let's see what we can do about that. And my working presumption is that over some amount of time, and I really in most cases have no idea how much time that means, that by using these different Tai Chi based exercises, it's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah.
We're going to be exercising these areas of the body, top to bottom, as much as we can, in such a way that over that period of time, whatever pains, whatever aches, whatever limitations you had, improve. Things get better. Will we ever get back to where you were at age 22? I don't know. I can't do what I did at 22.
Sure.
I couldn't do it when I was 22. It's, you know, so that to me is counterproductive and frustrating to even think about that. But let's take what you've got right now and see what we can do to do a little bit more. So that if you come out of this, like one of my people yesterday, we very explicitly talked about it. She comes at the end of the session and says, you know, my muscles just burn a little bit in my back. Yeah, they do, don't they? They're supposed to. That's why we did what we did today, to give you that little bit. I'm hoping that it doesn't really hurt you for more than, till tomorrow.
Sure.
You might be a little stiff tomorrow, maybe a little bit the day after, but the next time we do this, it's going to burn less.
Yep.
Because you're used to it. You're doing movements that you're not used to doing at all. Maybe you never did them before. And they're very different movements from what you did when you were 22, when you're training for the military, and you do 95 push-ups and 115 pull-ups, all very specifically focused things.
Yeah.
Okay? Classic exercise theory.
Sure.
You do a specific exercise for a specific thing. And our specific exercise is for everything.
Right.
So when I, do a nice little hook out to the side and a single whip over and I turn my waist, I've shifted my legs, I've shifted my weight, I'm working this shoulder a little bit, I'm working this one. I've touched just about every section of my body in that one simple little goofy exercise.
Yep. And it's
That's
not
what I
goofy.
do.
Single whip is amazing. You stop.
Yeah.
So I do have one question because you list qigong and the importance of qigong in your Taiji practice.
Yes.
And I have noticed something recently in my own personal practice, which is how important qigong is in just getting started. These moves that I used to see as boring, almost regimented moves are suddenly like, no, my knees hurt less at the end of Tai Chi class if I've done my Qigong properly.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny how that works, isn't it?
So speak a little to the magic of Qigong and why it works the way that it works.
I will speak to this quickly because I've got some folks coming in a few minutes,
Sure.
but I'll talk about this very quickly. Qigong is in some ways very, very, very closely related to Tai Chi. The biggest difference to me is you tend not to have the stepping as much.
Right.
Now, in our telehealth versions of things, you don't step around a whole lot, so that difference is much less dramatic, less observable. But Qigong works on, again, my definitions, on breathing and a combination of movements that you learn to relax into. Kind of like yoga, but not exactly. The breathing is a little different. You tend to breathe more from the belly, at least I do. And it's very introspective. I'm not giving you a very good answer. I'm not satisfied with this answer at all, but it's the best I got right off the top of my head. But I tend to use in Qigong just a lot of different kinds of things. I use 8-piece brocade. I use shirbashur, a bunch of them. But one thing that I almost always come back to, do you do Zhan Zhuang standing exercises?
Absolutely.
That to me, for something it's just stupid simple,
Yeah.
gets you big bang for the buck. I mean,
Yeah,
if you
that's
want to just stand, relax your hands in front of you, and you stand with your hip slightly tucked, you back up straight, your knees relaxed and sink. And stand there, eyes closed, breathe slow, count your breaths for 10 minutes. Now, the first time you do it, 10 minutes is going to be a long darn time.
I was just thinking that, yep.
Okay? So for a lot of my folks that I work with, we start with a minute or 2 minutes.
Right.
And we'll do this one. And then break stance, and push, like miming, imaginary wall, in another minute or two, and then relax.
Very nice.
And I'm telling you, it will do more for your legs. It will do more to relax you.
Yeah.
Does for me anyway. That's the only person that I know that I really can relate to. But other people tell me when they do it, it seems to work.
It's the simplicity of the Qigong moves allows you to visualize how you're supposed to move in Tai Chi a little easier. And so
Yeah,
I
that's
find
true.
it informs me a lot.
That's true.
Which is really
That's
cool.
true.
I know you are in a pinch for time, my friend, but I want to thank you for coming out
Well,
today.
you're very welcome.
This was a fantastic interview, as always. I love having you on, Kev. Where can we find you?
Well, if you happen to be in Colombia, you can find me at my house. But if you're not in Colombia, people can look on Facebook at Taiji with Kevin,
All right.
Taiji with Kevin. And cleverly enough, if you look on YouTube, also for Taiji with Kevin, you'll find my videos and things there.
Alrighty. So what I'll do is I'll put links in the description to all your pages. And that way, and I'm subscribed to you on YouTube. I see you popping up in there in my feed all the time. So
It's lovely, isn't it?
good man. You can find him playing instruments on there too, because I do get to see that as well.
Yes, I have on YouTube sort of, if you want to call it, two channels.
Sure.
One for my Tai Chi side, one for my other personality on the bluegrass world.
Good stuff. All right, Kev. Any last words of wisdom for the audience out there?
Be safe, folks.
It doesn't get better than that. All right, brother. Thank you so much for coming out with us this morning on the first day of the High Holy Month of Spooky. Too much fun. The audience wants to know, when are you and Toby going to do a collaborative concert?
We'll have to talk to you a little later, get back to you on that. I'm not sure what we'll do, but I guess we can come up with something.
Good stuff.
Won't be nearly as entertaining as when you and I are together, though.
Oh, well, listen. You do all the heavy lifting. I'm the straight man to your comedy. So, good stuff. All right, brother.
Alrighty.
Get
Take
off
care,
on
sir.
your day. Carpe diem. All right, and everybody at home, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Jacob, thanks for throwing out the echo. I realized that my there's the Dark Knight popping up there where once there was a Kevin. Yeah, Jacob, thank you for pointing out the static. I think we got it fixed. Brushed my mic a little too close to my mouth. Still getting a sense of all the fun new equipment we have here now. So with that in mind, with that said, I want to thank Kevin again for hanging out with us on the Cheecast here on the first day of the High Holy Month of Spooky. And I want to thank all of you out there for jumping in and saying hi, letting us celebrate with you all month long. All month long. This is just the beginning. We're going to have Ms. Judy Chansey with us here next week to talk about the stars. And then after that, little Swords training. That'll be fun. So it's just going to get spookier from here as we go deeper and deeper into the High Holy Month of Spooky. So I will see you, what was that, Tuesday? Well, I'll see you tomorrow for Funky Flow Friday. Don't worry, this isn't the only thing that got the upgrade. So check out the new Halloween set tomorrow. And, yeah. And then it's just business as usual up until the last week of the High Holy Month of Spooky. And then we'll be off, although I might pop in and say hi to you guys throughout the week. All right. Until then, I'm going to wish you health, happiness, and harmony. Until next time, be good to each other. Take care. Be safe.